asked to find the derivative of f, and the tricky part here is that we just have a trig function, so we can use some things previously defined, not defined, some things proven in our textbook, that the derivative of sine of x is cosine of x. That actually won't help us in this problem, but the derivative of cosine is close, but it's not the reverse. It's almost but not quite. It's negative sine of x. And you could see this too by looking at the graphs of sine and cosine and thinking about how the fact that a derivative is representing all the instantaneous slopes of the original function. So if you graph sine of x and keep plotting some imaginary slopes, like putting some numbers for them, you'll see the points line up as a cosine function graph. So we'll need this one because there's cosine involved. And this is two functions that are being divided, so that means we can use the quotient rule. So let's call the top one g, call the bottom one h. The quotient rule says that the derivative is going to be g prime times h minus g times h prime all over h squared. So the derivative of, here actually because the negative sign's on the outside, you could just factor it out and leave it at the end, because that's one of our properties of derivatives, is that you can factor out a constant. That's probably the easiest way to look at it. So I'm going to leave this negative sign on the outside. And so the derivative of g, that's 3x squared, times h prime, that's 7, sorry, not h prime times h, 7 times cosine of x, subtracted by g, and then it's h prime, so it's the derivative of h. The derivative of cosine is negative sine, and so just like we said a second ago with the negative sign that's on the outside, you could factor out the constants. The derivative of 7 cosine x is negative sine of x. That's all being divided by h squared. So this is our h, it's being squared, so square each number, that's 49 cosine squared x. And let's see if we can simplify. Actually, I don't know. Not a lot. Maybe not anything at all. This is negative, yeah, there is something, sorry. 3 times 7 is 21. And then here, negative times a negative makes a positive. So I talked about doing it, but I didn't actually do it. I forgot the 7 here. We factored out a 7, so that should be negative 7 sine of x. So this is just 7. Okay, and then the final step here is you could break this up into separate fractions. It's going to look pretty yucky. But what we can do is we can divide the top by 7. You can divide everything in the top by 7. You can divide everything in the bottom by 7. Because of those coefficients are all divisible by 7, so that would make it a little simpler. Okay, that should be everything.